Hollywood is reeling tonight after what insiders are calling the most explosive celebrity meltdown in late-night television history. Miley Cyrus, the pop superstar known for her unpredictable behavior, was forcibly escorted from the Jimmy Kimmel live studio following a heated confrontation that exposed the dark underbelly of celebrity culture. What started as a routine promotional appearance turned into a career-defining moment that has the entertainment industry buzzing and fans taking sides in what's being dubbed the clash of the century. Make sure to hit that subscribe button because this story reveals shocking details that will change how you see both of these controversial figures forever. The drama that unfolded behind those studio doors goes deeper than anyone imagined, and we've got exclusive insider information that paints a picture of ego, manipulation, and the toxic power dynamics that rule Hollywood. According to sources close to the production, trouble began brewing hours before Cyrus even stepped foot in the studio. The pop star's team had arrived early for rehearsals, but what they discovered was a deliberate setup designed to humiliate their client. Jimmy's writers had prepared material that was way over the line, revealed a production assistant who witnessed the pre-show preparations. They weren't planning a normal interview. They were planning an ambush. The tension reportedly started when Kimmel's team refused to honor the standard courtesy of sharing interview topics in advance. While most talk shows provide guests with a general outline of discussion points, Kimmel's producers allegedly told Cyrus's publicist that Jimmy likes to keep things spontaneous. This should have been the first red flag, but Cyrus, ever the professional despite her wild reputation, agreed to proceed without knowing what verbal landmines awaited her. Behind the scenes, crew members described an atmosphere thick with anticipation, but not the good kind. "You could tell something was off," explained a longtime studio employee who requested anonymity. Jimmy was pacing around backstage, constantly checking his notes and whispering with the writers. He had this look in his eyes like he was about to pounce on prey. We've seen him interview hundreds of celebrities, but this felt different. This felt personal. The bad blood between Cyrus and Kimmel reportedly dates back years, stemming from comments the host made during Cyrus's controversial phase that many felt crossed the line from comedy into cruelty. While other late-night hosts poked fun at her antics, Kimmel's jokes carried a nastier edge, often targeting her family and personal struggles rather than just her public persona. Industry insiders suggest that Kimmel never forgave Cyrus for publicly calling out his mean-spirited humor in a 2019 interview with another outlet. When Cyrus finally arrived at the studio, witnesses described her as surprisingly composed and professional. "She was actually in a great mood," recalled a makeup artist who worked with her. "She was cracking jokes, asking about everyone's families, being really sweet to the crew. She seemed genuinely excited to be there and talk about her new music." It made what happened later even more shocking. But Kimmel's demeanor told a different story. Sources report that he barely acknowledged the pop star during their traditional pre-show meet and greet, instead choosing to huddle with his writing team and make last-minute changes to his planned questions. "He was acting like she wasn't even there," observed a stage manager. "When someone tried to introduce them properly, Jimmy just grunted and walked away. It was incredibly rude, especially for someone of Miley's stature." The warning signs were all there, but nobody expected what was about to unfold on live television. Are you ready to see how this powder keg exploded? What happened next shocked viewers around the world and left the studio audience in stunned silence. As the cameras rolled and Kimmel delivered his opening monologue, eagle-eyed fans immediately noticed something was off. His usual trademark smirk seemed more sinister than playful, and when he introduced Miley Cyrus, his voice carried an edge that made seasoned industry professionals shift uncomfortably in their seats. "Please welcome someone who's never met a controversy she didn't like, Miley Cyrus," Kimmel announced, his introduction already loaded with passive-aggressive undertones that set the stage for disaster. When Cyrus bounded onto the stage with her characteristic energy and infectious smile, The contrast between her genuine enthusiasm and his cold reception was painfully obvious to everyone watching. The interview started deceptively normal, with standard questions about her latest album and upcoming tour dates. But viewers who know Kimmel's tactics could sense the trap being set. "You could see it building," explained a longtime fan who attended the taping. "Jimmy kept making these little digs disguised as jokes, and Miley was handling it like a pro, laughing along and redirecting to her music. But you could tell he was frustrated that she wasn't taking the bait." The first real crack in the facade came when Kimmel brought up Cyrus's past relationships, specifically her high-profile breakups. "So Miley, you've had quite the romantic journey over the years. Do you ever worry that your, let's call it colorful, dating history affects how people take your music seriously?" The question was loaded with judgment, and Cyrus's smile faltered for just a moment before she recovered with grace. "I think my personal life is separate from my artistry, Jimmy," she responded diplomatically. "My fans connect with my music because it's authentic and comes from real experiences. That's what matters to me." Her answer was perfect, professional yet personal, deflecting the attack while staying true to herself. But Kimmel wasn't satisfied with diplomacy. "Authentic, sure," he said with a dismissive wave. "But don't you think there's a point where authentic just becomes desperate for attention? I mean, we've all watched your evolution over the years." The way he said evolution made it sound like a disease, and the studio audience grew noticeably quieter. Cyrus's media training kicked in, but those sitting close to the stage could see her knuckles whiten as she gripped her chair. "I've grown as an artist and as a person," she said, her voice steady but with steel underneath. "I'm proud of my journey, even the messy parts. That's what makes us human, right?" Instead of moving on to safer territory, Kimmel doubled down. "Human, yes, but some might say your behavior during your wilder phase was more like a cry for help. Your father certainly seemed concerned. The mention of Billy Ray Cyrus was a deliberate provocation, hitting below the belt by bringing family into what should have been a light-hearted promotional interview." For the first time, Cyrus's composure cracked visibly. "My family relationships are private, Jimmy. I thought we were here to talk about music." Her voice remained controlled, but the warning was clear. Any professional host would have taken the hint and shifted gears, but Kimmel seemed energized by having finally struck a nerve. "Oh, come on," he said with a harsh laugh. "You can't build a career on oversharing and then suddenly want privacy when it's convenient. Your whole brand is about being an open book, right? So let's talk about some of those pages you'd rather skip." The audience was dead silent now, the uncomfortable tension palpable even through television screens. Production assistants could be seen frantically signaling from the wings, but Kimmel ignored all attempts to steer him back on course. He was locked onto his target, and nothing was going to stop him from landing what he clearly thought would be a devastating blow. "Let's talk about that time you—" Kimmel began, but Cyrus cut him off with a raised hand. "No, Jimmy, let's not." Her voice was quiet, but it carried across the silent studio like a thunderclap. "I came here as your guest to share my music with your audience. If you're not interested in having that conversation, then maybe we should end this right now." The threat hung in the air like a live wire. Would she really walk off? Could Kimmel push her that far? The answer was about to shock everyone watching. What happened next will go down in television history as one of the most shocking moments ever caught on live TV. Instead of backing down after Cyrus's clear warning, Kimmel made the fatal mistake that would define both of their careers forever. With a smirk that can only be described as predatory, he leaned back in his chair and delivered the blow that shattered any pretense of professionalism. "You know what, Miley? You're right. Let's end this charade," Kimmel said, his voice dripping with contempt. "I'm tired of pretending that your little reinvention fooled anyone. We all know this mature artist thing is just another phase before you inevitably crash and burn again." At least when you were swinging naked on wrecking balls, you were honest. About being a train wreck. The studio fell into absolute silence. Even the band members looked stunned. Cyrus sat motionless for what felt like an eternity, her face cycling through emotions: shock, hurt, and finally, something that made everyone in the room hold their breath. Pure, controlled fury. "Excuse me," she said, her voice barely above. A whisper, but somehow more powerful than if she had screamed. Slowly, she stood up from her chair, and the entire studio seemed to lean forward. "Did you just call me a train wreck on national television?" Kimmel, perhaps realizing he had crossed a line even he couldn't uncross, attempted to backpedal with nervous laughter. "Hey, it's just comedy, Miley. Don't take it so seriously. This is what we do here, we roast celebrities. It's all in good fun." But Cyrus wasn't buying it. "Good fun," she repeated, taking a step toward his desk. "Jimmy, I've been roasted by the best. I've laughed at jokes about myself that would make most people cry. But what you just did? That wasn't comedy. That was cruelty disguised as entertainment, and I won't stand for it." Behind the cameras, chaos was erupting. The show's executive producer was frantically signaling to cut to commercial, but the camera operators seemed frozen, unsure whether to keep rolling or follow protocol. "It was like watching a car crash in slow motion," described a crew member who witnessed the entire meltdown. Nobody knew what to do because nothing like this had ever happened before. Kimmel, sensing he was losing control of his own show, made another crucial error. "Oh, please, spare me the lecture about cruelty. You built your career on shocking people and now you want to play the victim? That's rich coming from someone who—" "Stop." Cyrus's voice cut through the studio like a blade. "I am done with this conversation, and I am done with you." She turned to walk off the stage, but Kimmel couldn't let her have the last word. "Yeah, run away, Miley. That's what you do when things get real, isn't it? Just like when your marriage fell apart. Just like when your career started tanking. Always someone else's fault, never yours." The personal attack on her divorce was the final straw. Cyrus spun around, and witnesses describe her expression as something they'd never seen before. Not the wild child persona, not the media-trained pop star, but a woman who had reached her absolute limit. "You want real, Jimmy? Here's real," she said, her voice steady but loaded with controlled rage. "I came here tonight to promote my music and connect with fans who support me. Instead, I walked into an ambush by a bitter man who gets his kicks from tearing down women who threaten his fragile ego. The only person having a career crisis here is you," the audience gasped. Several people actually stood up, unsure whether to applaud or run for the exits. But Cyrus wasn't finished. "I've dealt with bullies my entire career, but at least most of them had the decency to attack me behind my back. You? You're doing it on television because you know your ratings are tanking and you need the controversy to stay relevant." By now, security personnel had appeared at the edges of the stage, clearly unsure of their role in this unprecedented situation. The show's producer stepped into view, attempting to de-escalate. "Miley, Jimmy, let's take a quick break and—" "No," Cyrus said firmly. "There won't be a break because I'm leaving. And Jimmy?" She turned back to face the host, who had gone pale. "The next time you want to boost your ratings by humiliating a guest, pick someone who doesn't have the spine to call you out on your garbage." As she turned to leave, Kimmel made the mistake that would haunt him forever. "Security!" he called out desperately. "Don't let her leave. She's contractually obligated to finish this segment." The security guards looked confused, glancing between their boss and the pop star who was calmly walking toward the exit. "Actually," Cyrus said without breaking stride, "check my contract, Jimmy. There's a clause about hostile work environments." What happened next shocked everyone. The security team actually stepped aside to let her pass. "We all knew she was—" "Right," one guard later admitted anonymously. "What Jimmy did was way out of line, and none of us wanted to be part of forcing her to stay." The cameras kept rolling as Cyrus walked off stage with her head held high, leaving behind a stunned host, a silent audience, and a television moment that would break the internet within hours. The fallout from Miley Cyrus's explosive exit began before she even reached her dressing room. Within minutes, clips of the confrontation were being uploaded to social media by audience members who had filmed the chaos on their phones, despite the show's strict no-recording policy. By the time Cyrus's team had gathered her belongings, Miley Was Right was already trending worldwide, with millions of viewers expressing outrage at Kimmel's behavior. What happened backstage in those crucial moments has been described by witnesses as both heartbreaking and inspiring. Miley was shaking when she got to her dressing room, revealed a makeup artist who comforted the star. Not from anger anymore, but from adrenaline and the realization of what had just happened. She kept saying, "I can't believe I just did that," over and over. But then her phone started buzzing with support messages, and you could see her confidence returning. Meanwhile, Kimmel was left to face the music alone on stage. The show's producers made the unprecedented decision to cut the broadcast short, claiming technical difficulties, but not before millions of viewers witnessed the host's pathetic attempt to salvage the situation. "Ladies and gentlemen, Miley Cyrus," he announced to the empty chair, his forced smile fooling no one. The audience's scattered, uncomfortable applause spoke volumes about whose side they were on. Behind the scenes, panic had set in among the show's executives. "The phones started ringing immediately," disclosed a network insider who was present during the crisis meetings that followed. Advertisers were pulling out. Other celebrities' publicists were calling to cancel upcoming appearances, and social media was absolutely destroying Jimmy. We knew we had a disaster on our hands. But the real bombshell came when Cyrus's legal team released a statement that sent shockwaves through Hollywood. The carefully worded document didn't just address the incident, it revealed a pattern of behavior that painted Kimmel in an even worse light. "Ms. Cyrus's experience tonight sadly confirms reports we've received from multiple sources about Mr. Kimmel's treatment of female guests," the statement read. "We are currently reviewing our options regarding tonight's unprofessional conduct." The revelation that other celebrities had complained about Kimmel's behavior opened the floodgates. Within 24 hours, anonymous sources began sharing stories that confirmed what many in the industry had whispered about for years. "Jimmy has always had a problem with strong women," revealed a former show staffer. "Male guests get the buddy treatment, but female celebrities, especially younger ones, get interrogated like they're on trial." What happened with Miley was just the first time someone fought back on camera. The entertainment industry's response was swift and brutal. A-list publicists quietly began removing their clients from Kimmel's booking schedule, citing scheduling conflicts that everyone knew were really about avoiding association with the embattled host. Major sponsors started pulling advertising dollars, and the network found itself facing the kind of public relations nightmare that ends careers. But perhaps the most damaging blow came from an unexpected source: Kimmel's own staff. In an unprecedented move, several longtime employees leaked information about the toxic work environment behind the scenes. "We've watched Jimmy bully guests for years," wrote one anonymous crew member in a viral Reddit post. "Miley just had the courage to call him out publicly. She's a hero to everyone who works on that show." The ratings tell the story of Kimmel's downfall better than any insider report. The show's viewership plummeted by 60% in the week following the incident, with advertisers fleeing faster than the network could find replacements. Industry analysts began openly speculating about whether Jimmy Kimmel Live could survive the scandal, with some calling it the beginning of the end for the long-running late-night institution. Meanwhile, Cyrus emerged from the controversy stronger than ever. Her new album shot to #1 on the charts, fueled by fans who admired her refusal to be bullied. Concert tickets sold out within hours of going on sale, and her social media following exploded as people discovered an artist they had perhaps unfairly dismissed. Miley showed us what real strength looks like: posted one fan whose comment received over 100,000 likes. She stood up to a bully on live TV and walked away with her dignity intact. The incident also sparked a broader conversation about the treatment of women in entertainment. Other female celebrities began sharing their own stories of uncomfortable interview experiences using the hashtag #NoMoreBullies to demand better treatment from talk show hosts. The movement gained such momentum that several networks issued new guidelines for guest treatment, essentially implementing Miley Cyrus rules to prevent similar incidents. 3 months later, the consequences continue to reverberate through Hollywood. Kimmel's show remains on the air, but insiders report that he's a changed man, humbled, paranoid, and desperately trying to rebuild his shattered reputation. Cyrus, meanwhile, has been praised as a feminist icon and continues to speak out about the importance of standing up to workplace bullies. "Sometimes you have to draw a line in the sand," she said in a recent interview, her only direct comment about the incident. "I'm just glad I had the platform to do it publicly, so other people know they don't have to tolerate that kind of treatment either." The Miley Cyrus versus Jimmy Kimmel showdown will be remembered as the moment when Hollywood's culture of celebrity bullying finally met its match. And the winner? Anyone who's ever been told to smile and take it when faced with cruelty disguised as entertainment. What do you think about this explosive confrontation? Was Miley right to walk off, or did she overreact? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button for more shocking celebrity revelations, and ring that notification bell so you never miss the drama that's reshaping Hollywood forever.